Welcome back, everyone. I have about an hour to finish this. And this isn't even the first time I tried, it's the second. By this, I mean, of course, this level. Can't really call them missions. Something about it is different. Start off with the unit production speed upgrades. My mouse is really not doing well. I don't know why, it's just not great. And I hope the resolution is the same. It looks smaller. Maybe I'll take a look at the footage from this particular file that this will be on compared to the last file. We've got our small battalion of Roman soldiers, but we're in a Gaul town, so we can only train Gaulish soldiers. And by the way, grammar-wise, it's not a Gaul village or Gaul soldiers, it's Gaulish soldiers or Gallic soldiers. I feel like most people have tended to settle on Gaulish instead of Gallic. Well, because the language is always Gaulish, never Gallic. But the adjective for the people can sometimes be Gaulish and sometimes Gallic.
I've killed many. I hunger for battle.
Am I on a higher speed? Yes, I am. Definitely on a higher speed. Because I have to set that down.
Shields in front.
Everything seems like slow as molasses when you're used to being on a higher speed. Sort of like how sometimes I'll up the speed on some songs on YouTube just to get a new, a new experience of the song. And let's capture this village. Yeah, I'll up the speed on certain songs, and when I go back to how it was originally, it seems wrong. Because if I had, even if I had been used to the original version for a while, because slowing down a song on YouTube never works. I don't know why, but it just always sounds terrible. But speeding up is different, Obviously, there's a point.
Lord of the Vikings.
1.5 probably is too much, and 2 is definitely too much. But so this village doesn't seem to be enemy exactly. I mean, it probably has to be by default, otherwise you wouldn't be able to capture it. But, yeah. Even though there's no, like, soldiers guarding it or anything. Okay, let's get the villages to tribute their stuff. I told myself I would allow it, to be set on full speed solely for the purpose of exploring to make sure that we get all the stuff in this side of the river. Thoric is keeping up, I think. Yeah, he's up there in top, in the front.
I heal in battle, Lord of the Vikings.
But yeah, so it's a Gaulish soldier, a Gaulish village, or a Gallic soldier, or a Gallic village. Never a Gaul village. And Gallic and Gaelic are actually entirely different things. Gallia was a name that I'm pretty sure Julius Caesar himself invented. I could be wrong about that, but it's a Roman term for the region, of course, of France, Belgium, and parts of Switzerland. We don't know the name that the Gauls gave for their territory, of course, because they didn't have writing, as I hopefully went over in my first introductory history video. But shit, where was I going with this?
The next one is mine.
I didn't have a point, really. Let's see here. Oh, first of all, back down to game speed.
I heal in battle. Thrust my hammer.
Yeah, so Gallia was the name that the Romans gave to the region. And Gaelic, of course, is a subgroup of Celts, just as Gauls are also a subgroup of Celts. But when you say Gaelic, you're talking about specifically Ireland, Scotland, and nowhere else. Not Wales, not, ancient Gaul, nothing else. And so, Gaelic is a native Celtic word. Irish word.
Let me show you my aim.
In the name of Odin.
And Gaul or Gallia is
I heal in battle.
A Roman term
in the name of Odin.
Not Ireland and Scotland, because they didn't know a lot about those areas. Well, they did, but Scotland was Caledonia, and Ireland was Hibernia. You've ever heard of the term Hibernians? In America, we have a fraternal organization for really old, working-class Irish dudes to just sit around and do nothing. But you have to be Irish to join, I believe.
I heal in battle.
I didn't see the point if they let everybody and anybody else in who wanted to join.
In the name of Odin.
Ooh, an
Thrust
outpost.
my hammer.
And I'm still on this side of the fucking river. Maybe I should, turn on the game speed. to, like, double check that everything is, captured? Ah, fuck it. I don't care.
In the name of Odin.
I'll focus on the, other side of the river. Yeah, Gaelic refers to, not the Gauls of France, Belgium, and Switzerland, but, to Scotland specifically, and it's a native Irish word
I'm tired
meaning,
of this.
fuck if I know. My gut assumption is it means something like the people, you know. Just like Deutsch for German means the people. Something I did learn fairly recently is that because the idea of Scotland as a Gaelic nation was not always the case, because that was the case, because in the Dark Ages, after the fall of the Roman Empire in Ireland, the Irish tribes of the north of Ireland invaded and displaced the Picts, which were another Celtic group. You know, these people were not all very different from each other, but, you know, they had their differences, and the Irish Gaels displaced these Picts, and the particular name that they were called were the Scoti, this particular tribal confederation in the north of Ireland.
My quiver is full.
I assume that's probably a Latin term from the
My home is
word ending in I
Valhalla.
like that.
I heal in battle.
I read that it means raiders.
What are we
Pirates.
doing? True leaders are rare.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a word in Irish or Scottish Gaelic or Pictish or Latin. And so, the point that I was trying to make was that because the modern culture of what we know today as Scotland is as a result of Irish tribes displacing the native Picts, who were never conquered by the Romans or the Saxons or anybody else, that for a very, very long time, the Scottish Gaelic language, which is actually not mutually intelligible with Irish Gaelic, even though it may look kind of similar written down.
Look out for danger.
Certain, like, weird, unphonetic, like, spelling choices, you know, lots of guttural sounds and lots of consonant, you know, consonant
Swords
clusters. It's not at all mutually intelligible, but because of the fact that Scottish history is mostly a result of Irish raiders displacing the Picts,
hunger for battle.
in older texts, the Scottish Gaelic language was often just called Irish because of that history.
In the name of Odin.
I think I was reading that on Wikipedia about the Irish language. I was also watching recently a pretty famous YouTuber among the history YouTube community. Maybe some of you haven't heard of him. He's called History with Hilbert. He's an English guy with Dutch ancestry, particularly Frisian, but he, you know, he lives in England, speaks with a British accent. And he does lots of interesting things. He speaks fluent Dutch, and, you know, it's interesting to see that sort of weird immigrant situation. You know, you think of someone from England that speaks with an English accent. you think of someone from England that speaks with an English accent, and you just assume that their parents must have been English, and their grandparents and their grandparents, and on and on. And you assume that if someone is an immigrant in Europe, then they must have a strong accent, or they must be like, first generation or possibly second generation, but they always have to have an accent.
My blade is thirsty.
There's no such thing as a person that
Ready to fight.
has developed a normal British accent with no hint of a sort of a patois
I'm tired of this.
of any kind. That's an immigrant, and certainly not an example of what Hilbert is, which is a white person from another European country
If you say so.
who happens
Ready
to have
to
immigrant
fight.
parents. That does not have any sort
Sharp
of
sword, clean
accent.
shield.
That seems to be very rare. I mean, famously, Nigel Farage is descended from French Huguenot settlers. Although that was probably from a few generations back. Also, we call him Nigel Farage in America. I think in England they generally prefer Nigel Farage.
Ready as always.
Yeah. Looks like we got 50. And some extra swordsmen. Let's see, if you remember from last time, we went over this, shallow bit here. And I don't feel like there's anything... There's no pathways over here.
Ready to fight.
Neither over here. So we'll go here.